Episode 5, Arm Wrestling Match. Next day, Jacob woke up early in the morning. He exercised for about an hour and cooked breakfast for his grandma. Then he took a walk along the beach with her in the pleasant sunny morning. "Jacob, you've become much more energetic these days," Grandma said to Jacob with a smile as the sea breeze billowed through her hair. "My appetite has gone up as well," Jacob smiled back at her. "Are you seeing someone at the university?" Grandma smiled and asked. "No," Jacob denied. "You must have gone on a few dates, I'm sure of it. Don't try to hide it from me. Did you forget your grandma knows anthroposcopy? You seem to have good luck with women lately," Grandma chuckled. "Education is my priority at the university. Why would I date a girl and distract myself?" Jacob denied his feelings. "That's your father's opinion. I, on the other hand, encourage my Jacob to date. I'm sure whoever you're dating will be a nice girl. Bring her along next time to meet me." Grandma's smile spread wide with enthusiasm. She had the warmth like that of a sunflower. "All right, I will bring her to you as soon as I get a girlfriend," Jacob promised, and Grandma's smile became even brighter. The two of them looked at the ocean on a reef for a while before heading back home at a slow pace. Jacob picked up many little shells along the way and put them in his pocket. "You've collected a lot of shells growing up, haven't you?" Grandma turned around and asked as Jacob was bending over and collecting some more of them. "As souvenirs," Jacob said as he straightened up. He threw a shell high up in the air and caught it. Jacob, you've been fond of the ocean ever since you were a little boy. Therefore, your heart is as vast as the ocean." Grandma praised him as she walked on the soft sand with her cloth shoes. She then murmured to herself, "You are also affectionate and kind. How come no girl is into you? When shall I see my great-grandson?" Jacob did not see this coming and tried to hide his cheeks that had turned red. Here he was, nowhere even close to dating, and his grandma's thoughts were miles ahead. Up until now, he thought she was just missing her son, but turns out she was seriously thinking about her grandson with a wife. He stayed with her for the rest of the afternoon after he had walked her back to the house. Then he started to pack for college. Grandma stuffed his backpack with all kinds of snacks and local products, making his bag heavier and bulkier than what he had carried from his dorm. "Bring it to college and share it with your classmates. I like Sam and those other roommates of yours." She walked Jacob to the door and beamed at him. "Yes, Grandma, I know. I'll share my food with them. You take care of yourself, Grandma." He wore his heavy backpack and started to walk. The people of his locality all had their own cars or bikes. As the houses were few and since everyone had their own commute, there weren't any bus stops nearby. The closest one was located near a tourist attraction. Jacob had to walk for half an hour before arriving at the bus stop. Jacob thought to himself on the bus, it was a pretty pleasant weekend. The bus headed towards the city. The salty sea wind was blowing through Jacob's hair and he smiled to himself. Such a peaceful day after all the chaos. Once at his dorm, Jacob started to distribute the snacks his grandma gave him. It would take him over 2 weeks to finish them all by himself. The reason why Grandma packed so many snacks for him every time was to let him share them with his friends. In fact, his friends were also expecting these snacks. They knew that Jacob's grandma was fond of them all. "Grandma's the best. She's so thoughtful and kind. Should I listen to her and actually start dating? Would seeing me with a girlfriend cheer her up?" Jacob thought to himself as he handed out the snacks. Jacob realized that he wasn't feeling as tired as he usually does after the visit home. He walked with a heavy backpack, spent all day helping out his grandma, and took a long bus ride. Why wasn't he tired after doing so much? In fact, he was feeling energetic. It was great to feel this way, but strange too. Jacob was lost in his thoughts, and his one hand was clutching the large table in their dorm. He decided to test his strength, and managed to lift up the table a few centimeters from the ground with only one hand. He was shocked. He immediately turned to Sam and asked, "Sam, didn't you say you want to arm wrestle with me again?" Sam was opening up a pack of chips in excitement. He turned around to face Jacob immediately. Why? You want to arm wrestle with me? Let's give it a go. Jacob sat up properly in his chair and leaned forward on the table, taking an arm wrestling stance. Damn, did I not defeat you hard enough last week? I will only use half of my strength for the sake of all the snacks you've brought. Sam put the packet down and sat in the chair opposite to Jacob. Jacob's physical strength was in fact not all that bad. His legs were strong due to his habit of going for a run and frequent walks every day. This is also the reason why he was able to catch the falling girl without much problem. However, he didn't have a lot of upper body strength, and that was why he always lost to Sam, who was 6 feet tall and had an athletic build in arm wrestling. The duo bent their right elbows on the table and firmly gripped each other's hands. A couple of students passing by saw this and waved at the others. Seeing this, students from the neighboring dorm rooms gathered around them. Let me show you what an instant defeat in arm wrestling feels like. Sam rolled up his sleeves in confidence. Jacob was about to roll up his own sleeves, but then he remembered the green mark on his arm and thought against it. Sam and Jacob's roommate took up the role of the judge and announcer and shouted out loud, 3, 2, 1, go! Ah, Sam shouted as he gathered all of his strength. Sam's arm fell with a thud on the table. Everyone was shocked to see this. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. I wasn't ready yet. He waved his hands and said, You started before I even sat still. That was cheating. Sam was exasperated at what had just happened. He was trying to save face. Jacob was shocked too, but trying to keep a steady expression on his face. Only he knew what was going on in his head, and he didn't want everyone else to see what he felt. One more time. Sam gripped Jacob's hand as he wasn't willing to admit defeat. 3, 2, 1, and go, announced the roommate. The second match seemed tougher for Sam, as he had to gradually put his full strength to compete with Jacob. In the past, not only was arm wrestling with his best friend effortless, he almost instantaneously won against him. Tables had turned this time, but Sam tried his hardest. His face turned red as blue veins popped out of his arm and forehead. He slowly took the lead in the match. This time, Jacob's arm banged on the table, ending the match in Sam's favor. The students in the room jumped up and cheered as Sam rubbed his sore arm. Your arm strength has improved, buddy, he told Jacob, feeling a glimmer of pride for his friend and a slight envy. Still couldn't beat you, Jacob smiled bitterly. All right, let's split the snacks up. Snacks, you took my chips while I was wrestling. The winner, Sam, jumped up and snatched away his bag of chips from his roommate. They both bickered, and none of them saw that Jacob had walked away quietly. Jacob reached the dorm balcony and leaned as he looked at the trees in the dusk. I didn't use my full strength in the first match, and yet I was able to defeat Sam with ease. Then I decreased my strength on purpose so he could win the second match. That was a significant increase in my strength from last week's arm wrestling match. Jacob looked up at the moon with uneasiness as he rubbed his wrist.